What is up, everybody? We are Cranky Film. Today we are back with another Alien Biospheres video. These guys are just going crazy again, bro. They always do this stupid thing. By Biblaridion, okay? Please make sure to check them out. All of everything will be in the description below. My man Biblaridion is trying to make a world, bro. An alien planet similar to ours, but not exactly similar. He's trying his best to come up with life forms and stuff, guys.
We're aliens.
You know,
We're aliens.
this is how it is, yo. Please, if you enjoy the video, please leave a like. Okay, let's go.
In the last episode, we covered the first 4 billion years of our alien planet's history, including the evolution of complex multicellular life and the resultant explosion of biodiversity from which emerged 2 body plans.
Yes.
As of yet, these
Flower
body
bout.
plans only serve as theoretical blueprints, but with the passing of millions of years, the various descendants of these ancestral forms may undergo heavy modification as they diversify into separate lineages, or clades. A clade is a group of species that share a common ancestor, represented by a single branch of the tree of life along with any and all branches that stem from it. For example, snakes form a clade of reptiles, but also form part of a larger clade along with lizards, a group known as the squamates. And in turn, squamates can be grouped together with tuataras under the even larger clade Lepidosauria. However, lepidosaurs and turtles do not form a single clade because not all the descendants of the last common ancestor are included. This visual representation of the relatedness of different clades is called a cladogram, or phylogenetic tree. Next step in creating our alien biosphere is to construct some cladograms for our 2 body plans, and to do that, we need to have them undergo diversification into different clades. This diversification is likely to be driven by adaptation to different modes of life, or, more specifically, to different niches. An ecological niche is essentially the role a given species plays in its ecosystem.
The giraffe.
The precise definition is multifaceted.
Hopefully it's a giraffe with this like
habitat, feeding,
12 feet.
reproduction, and its relationship to other species. Clades will often specialize for a group of related niches, such as how the big cats have occupied the niches of large predators. However, a single niche cannot be occupied by more than one species within any given ecosystem. For now, we first need to identify the niches present in our ancient sea and see how our body plans can evolve to exploit them. To start with, the vast majority of energy input in almost all ecosystems will come from sunlight, which in our ancient oceans will power the metabolisms of billions of photosynthetic microbes. Specifically on this alien planet, though, there is another source of energy in the form of atmospheric hydrogen sulfide, which, although it's been gradually depleted over the past few billion years, still provides energy for rafts of chemosynthetic microbes that float on the water's surface. Together, these autotrophs will form huge clouds of plankton in the surface waters, serving as a virtually inexhaustible source of food, and thus the basis of the food chain for the majority of oceanic ecosystems. The term plankton refers to any organism incapable of swimming against the current, including these single-celled autotrophs, or phytoplankton, as well as a host of tiny animals, or zooplankton, that feed on them. One group of animals that's very likely to form a large component of the zooplankton are the anthostome larvae, whom we've already said live near the surface before descending to the seabed to complete their metamorphosis. These larvae will likely feed in a similar way to the adults, using their feeding arms to catch food particles. While they are capable of controlling their position in the water to a small degree by waving their feeding arms, the larvae aren't able to move independently of the currents and so still get classed as plankton. The polypods may have some representatives among the zooplankton as well. One major advantage the polypods have when it comes to adapting their body structure is their segmentation, as individual segments can be specialized to perform specific functions, allowing for increased body complexity. This can be seen in many clades of arthropods, annelids, and even vertebrates, which, although missing any external signs of segmentation, show a pattern during embryonic development of tissues arranged in repeating units, which then differentiate to form various aspects of the body structure in much the same way as other segmented body plans. One way this specialization of segments may manifest is through tagmosis, the fusion of multiple segments into a single morphological unit, or tagma. On Earth, many groups of arthropod have independently undergone tagmosis to organize their body into different regions for a specialized function.
Lobsters.
One very likely development is for some of the anterior segments to unite into a tagma dedicated to feeding. If we say these polypods undergo tagmosis of the first 2 segments, then the limbs on these segments could specialize into appendages for handling food. Further tagmosis may fuse the 3rd, 4th, and 5th segments together into a tagma dedicated to propulsion. The limbs may broaden and develop elongated bristles or setae to enlarge their surface area.
Wild.
Spasmodically beating these limbs provides short bursts of jerky movement, reminiscent of the antenna-driven swimming of Daphnia or Cyclops. The segments posterior to the locomotive tagma, no longer being needed for propulsion, may evolve to form an enlarged gill surface and to house the internal organs.
We gotta make our own fish one
with
with this.
Their reproductive systems may adapt to increase fecundity, the number of offspring an individual is capable of producing. Plankton tend to have very high reproductive rates, as their only real defense against predators is sheer numbers.
No.
These tiny polypods may live much like copepods on Earth, comprising thousands of species and forming a large proportion of the biomass in the ancient seas. I'll call this clade of polypods Tachypodia.
Tachypods
larvae may serve as prey for larger zooplankton.
Yeah, I want to see them both
While
on
most
land.
anthostomes are filter feeders,
That's something like
there
episode
may
5.
be room for them to expand into other methods of feeding. Perhaps rather than passively straining the water for plankton, they can adapt their feeding arms into tentacles for catching larger prey.
Ooh.
To increase their feeding surface, they may evolve a body cavity, like a stomach, which will make their feeding much more efficient. I'll call this innovative new clade of anthostomes the gastrozoans. The larvae of these gastrozoans will develop
Is he gonna turn into a squid?
allowing them to feed on sea plankton such as
like
the
that's
tachypods.
the bottom half's like
While
a
still
head
classified
and
as
body.
plankton due to their inability to swim against the current, the gastrozoan larvae may
They're
grow
slowly
quite
becoming
large
a
before their
mobile
metamorphosis, possibly
vessel.
living in a similar way to
Jellyfish
jellyfish,
like?
drifting through the water and ensnaring passing prey with their tentacles. All of these various planktonic clades form an abundant food source for larger nectonic clades. Unlike plankton at the mercy of the ocean currents, nekton are species capable of independent movement thanks to adaptations that enable efficient swimming. The ancestral polypod accomplished this with back and forth strokes of the many limbs that lined its body, but this is by no means the only option for effective aquatic locomotion. By undulating from side to side, the whole length of the body can be used to exert force on the surrounding water. This is called anguilliform swimming, and is used by many clades of fish, as well as aquatic reptiles and polychaete worms. If a clade of polypod evolved this form of swimming, it would grant them much greater speed than the limb-driven swimming of their ancestors, allowing them to diversify into the niches of large, active predators. This clade may be descended from the same stock as the tachypods, and so inherit the same feeding tagma consisting of the first 2 segments.
No, it'd be more like
in these creatures,
for
the
us.
feeding arms may become grasping tentacles lined with setae,
Look at dude,
which
it's
may
like
be
a
adapted with
cuttlefish.
sharp spines for catching and impaling large prey,
I've seen it bit
or
by
into
that.
long baleen-like bristles to filter plankton. Since thrust is provided by the lateral motion of the body, the limbs are no longer needed for propulsion, and so the anterior limbs may now serve as stabilizing fins to
I wonder
support
when we get
the
our
body
first
and maintain
large
depth,
water.
while the
Oh my god,
posterior
right?
limbs may become completely vestigial and
They
thus
got
shrink to
bigger.
reduce drag. And as this clade further specializes for fast swimming, the final segment may evolve a fin to increase the volume of water displaced by the tail's movement, and therefore provide greater leverage against the water, allowing for the evolution of more specialized forms of swimming, such as chorangiform or thunniform swimming, in which the central mass of the body is kept mostly stationary, while the propulsive force is provided solely by the movement of the finned tail. With this design, this clade is well equipped for predatory niches.
Dude, that thing
including
looks
sharp
wild, but
pursuit
we
hunters
probably
and
have those in
whale-like
our
filter
deep
feeders.
ocean.
We probably
Let's
do.
call these creatures acanthopods.
Thorny
Meanwhile,
feet.
anthostomes aren't anywhere near as mobile as polypods, even in their larval form, so they may be excluded from such predatory niches in open ocean or pelagic environments, but they may have more luck in benthic environments on the seabed.
Benthic.
Here, nutrients filter down from the surface waters in what's called marine snow, which constitutes the main food source in the lower layers of the water column. The majority of marine snow will be taken up by benthic filter feeders like the adult anthostomes, while the remainder collects on the ocean floor, forming a layer of detritus that serves as food for other benthic creatures. This creates a niche that may be occupied by another clade of polypods. Let's say this clade splits off from the main line before the tagmosis of the first 2 segments, and thus represents a sister clade to all other polypods
Can we
we've
see what
discussed
this
so
last
far.
one is?
Tagmosis will be a useful innovation in this clade as
There's
well,
a hybrid.
perhaps this time involving the fusion of the first 4 segments into a feeding
Oh.
tagma. The first, second, and third pair of limbs may form a frond of tentacles for filtering and handling
What if it just
food,
gets one
while the
human
fourth
leg
pair
underneath
may be
him?
designed for burrowing or digging through the sediment for
The
organic
first
detritus.
mermaid.
These limbs
bounces
may bear
on
seating
ground
like the other
of the-
polypodian clades to help them sift through the
Nose.
sand, but may also be used as a means of sensing vibrations in the water,
Those are his
giving them
eyes.
a way of detecting
I
incoming
think it's
predators.
nose.
Now
The
imagine.
remaining 5 segments
God.
may form
Look at
a
boy.
second
That's a
tagma
big
for
boy.
locomotion.
He's a big boy.
The gills on all of these segments may
You
fuse
say
into
that,
a
but he's
single
tiny.
surface on the creature's underside, and
He
the
a
5th
fish?
pair of limbs may evolve into specialized fins
Ew,
that
the-
beat back and forth to pass water over the gill surface to increase oxygen intake, much like the pleopods of some crustaceans on Earth. The 6th, 7th, and 8th pair of limbs
Those look
comprise the
weird.
primary locomotor limbs. What were once fins used for swimming may now be adapted into rudimentary legs for crawling over or burrowing through the substrate.
Oh, crawling.
Yeah.
Ancestral
Slowly gonna get
polypod
to the
had limbs
surface
made of
now.
simple muscle. These
Ooh,
benthic
we're
polypods
on
may
our way.
require something
I love
more
this
robust
thing.
to support their
He has
bodies
4
and
eyes
give them
now.
leverage to dig through the sediment. The limbs of the ancestral polypod likely evolved from extensions of the gill surface, and so the base of the limb may occur very close to the hemocoel, since oxygen needs to be able to diffuse through the gills directly into the blood. Perhaps in this clade, an offshoot of the hemocoel could extend into the limbs, which would provide them with more oxygen and also help maintain their structure through hydrostatic pressure. A muscular valve around the base of the limb may allow this outgrowth of the hemocoel to be
Oh.
successively
Oh, so it
inflated
pumps in and out
deflated
blood
with blood,
to invoke
which,
movement.
in conjunction with
Oh,
movements of
man,
blood
that's
vessels,
cool.
will allow the limb to function as a sort of hydraulic piston.
Dude, I wish our
This
limbs
mechanism
got
is also
smaller
used by
when you went
starfish
to
on
use
Earth,
the other
which have a
one.
complex
you can't have
vascular
bones.
system that pumps fluid into
We'll
and
be
out
all
of the
veins,
teeth
no
to drive
bone.
them along the seabed. The final pair of limbs, however, may lose their locomotive function and instead be developed into gonopods, limbs specialized to aid in reproduction. In
Oh,
this case,
gross.
allowing these
Okay.
polypods to lock their
Oops.
bodies together during spawning and to facilitate the transfer of gametes.
Oh, goodness.
I am
This
scared.
clade will live much
Ew.
like crabs and lobsters, sifting through the detritus for organic matter. I'll call these creatures sarcopods.
Flesh feet.
In the deeper layers
How
of
many
the sea,
feet?
they'll be
Flesh
safe for
feet
most
are cool.
pelagic
I think my
I
predators,
favorite
like
such
them.
as the acanthropods.
There's some of mine too.
But the benthic environment will come with its own predators.
These are.
We've said that the
Oops.
gastrozoans have evolved
I like the
guts
the
and
last
the
two so
ability
far.
to ingest prey, and this capability
I want to
extends
see
into
more
their developing larvae.
evolution of this guy.
Perhaps this reaches its pinnacle with one final innovation.
It looked like the flood.
Neoteny occurs when traits associated with the
Axolotl.
larval or juvenile stage of a species are maintained into adulthood. Sometimes this may manifest as a species losing the ability to metamorphose into adults, completing their entire life cycle in the larval form. If this happens in a clade of gastrozoans, then instead of attaching to the substrate and becoming sessile upon reaching maturity, they may evolve to remain motile throughout their whole lives. Freed from the constraints of a
What
sessile
then?
existence,
Like you were
this
saying?
clade of
We-
gastrozoans may now specialize for active predation, which may entail some severe changes
To a
to their body
kangaroo, that'd be
structure.
the most crazy
As
jump.
we touched on last time, among animals on Earth there is a strong correlation between motility and bilateral symmetry. It could be that bilaterally symmetrical animals are predisposed to motile niches and thus occupied them before radial creatures had the chance to adapt to them, but there are some examples of motile animals with bilateral symmetry that evolved from radially symmetrical ancestors, as can be seen in
I'm
one
gonna
of the
turn
most
into like a
criminally
jellyfish type
underrated
thing.
animals on Earth,
Yeah, almost like
Maybe.
the
the sea
jelly.
pig. These are a
What?
clade
And I
of
say
sea
that-
cucumber.
I say that because a lot of anemone type creatures, like they have some sort of like defense like thing, right? What we've talked about before, where like they might zap you,
Yeah.
right? And if we
Poison
get
zap.
boy swimming, he might still maintain that, to where he could like sting you, maybe similar to like a jellyfish.
You have to develop that though first.
That'd be awesome though.
Yeah, because right now all he does is like feed.
Well, because like
Feed.
sure, if he just feeds, he just swims, he can't really defend himself.
Yeah, so he has to
I
develop.
think that'd be nice to see if he added something like that.
They should make him colorful and poisonous.
Yeah.
And then after that, everybody's gonna start fearing them.
Yo, is he gonna like shoot out poison?
It's just maybe he has a slimy coat of poison around him, like how some eels produce a bunch of mucus around them.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe get like a mucus type defense too could come out and they just can't
Yeah.
because it suffocates the predator.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sure. But like, I mean, at the very least, though, maybe make him be able to like slowly regenerate limbs.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can see
I
that.
mean, a lot of octopus and a lot of creatures.
A lot of sea creatures can regen their
They
limbs.
can.
It's crazy.
Not fish.
They very much
Why
can.
can't we do that?
We're mammals.
Sea pigs are cool. Look at the sea pigs. I never see a sea pig
evolved a
before.
motile lifestyle to help them forage across wide areas
You
of
are
the
a sea
ocean
pig.
floor. Sea pigs belong to the phylum Echinodermata, the same phylum as starfish, which means the sea
I've
pig's
never heard of a sea
ancestors
pig either.
exhibited radial
Me neither.
symmetry, but as they evolved to become more motile, they
I've seen that.
secondarily evolved bilateral symmetry.
Urchin.
This provides some evidence that bilateral symmetry will
That's
be favored
so
in
weird.
motile animals, even if they descend from a
Can you
radial
own them as
ancestor.
pets?
So
Do you
the
think you can
same
put them in
thing
like
may
water?
occur
I
in
doubt it.
They're
Archaeopteryx
too small, I think.
gastrozoans. When
They
they
do look
first
like
evolve
pigs.
lifelong
Oh,
motility,
God. They need
they may
specific
propel themselves with
requirements
wafts of
of
their
the deep
tentacles
sea.
or by dragging
First
their
ran
bodies
into an
along the
octopus.
seafloor like
Yeah.
octopuses or brittle stars. Eventually, cephalization
Brittle
may kick
stars.
in and a
Yeah,
single
I haven't seen
direction
a
of
brittle star in
movement
a
may
long
develop,
time.
around
never
which
seen
a
a
plane
brittle
of symmetry
star.
may form. As discussed last time, it's
Ew.
likely the mouth will form the front
What's that
end of the
hole,
animal
bro?
for efficient feeding, and consequently, the arms surrounding
That's
the
the
mouth
main
will move
eating
forward as
hole.
well. In the
Yeah.
ancestral anthostomes, these arms serve many purposes, including respiration, feeding, and sensing the environment. Upon evolving bilateral symmetry, these
So
limbs may become individually
big.
specialized for specific functions. Some of the limbs may become sensory
So
stalks
awesomeness
that let
monsters.
the animal detect and zero in on prey, equipped with eyes and a series of vibration-sensitive setae. These organs are especially delicate and would pose a huge threat to the animal's survival if lost or damaged, so the ancestral condition of being able to retract these limbs may come in handy,
Oh,
in
there's a
much the same way
snail.
that snails are capable
Oh.
of retracting their eye stalks.
Water snail.
Other limbs may become specialized gills with an enlarged surface area to increase oxygen uptake. Like in the polypods, these gills may contain an extension of a hemocoel, and muscular contractions within the base of the limbs may pump blood between the gills and the rest of the body. Meanwhile, still other limbs may become feeding arms to force prey into the muscular mouth. These limbs may evolve sharp hooks or teeth to help grip prey and masticate it before ingestion. Note that because their digestive system evolved from a single
wants to
cavity
hug.
formed from the feeding surface, these creatures won't have a through gut like the polypods,
Okay.
where food is ingested at one end of the animal and waste is expelled at the other. Instead, food is digested in the stomach and then waste is regurgitated back out of the mouth,
Okay.
similar to some flatworms
Oh
and
my
jellyfish on Earth. The
Jellyfish
remaining
does?
limbs may be used for locomotion, beginning as simple tentacles
It's a little
that drag
fat
the creature
balloon,
along
though.
the seabed, but then eventually evolving into more efficient feet or flippers.
Dude, it's a turd. It's a
While they
turtle.
never become fully sessile, they
What if that turns into a skull, like that big round part?
There's a skull.
It turns into like a skull thing in the future, and he's the one who becomes humans, and we're just walking around with that face, like
No.
his tentacles on the face,
That would
like
be an alien planet for sure.
sort of like Cthulhu, bro.
Oh,
He's
that'd
just
be
walking
crazy.
around with his stupid like tentacle mouth.
Yeah.
That'd be wild,
That'd
bro.
be cool though.
Or maybe like what's that? Pirates in the Caribbean.
The captain.
The
yeah.
captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
may still
That's
develop
funny.
the same
This is
mineralized armor that the adults do,
Oh,
still
yes.
serving
There's
as
the
defense
skull.
against larger
There it
predators.
is.
However, this armor will still at least partially restrict their movement, so they'll likely be outcompeted for the
He keeps
niches
that
of pelagic
forever.
predators
That
by
face.
the acanthopods. But they'll thrive in deeper waters, feeding on the sarcopods
I saw that
or
thing
other
in real
benthic
life,
animals
Cody.
living among the detritus. But
And
the
me,
evolution
Cody.
of motility provides these anthostomes
Just,
with another
it's
advantage.
small.
Recall the sessile anthostomes are committed to broadcast spawning, meaning they produce vast quantities of gametes,
Damn
only
right.
a very small percentage of which are fertilized and survive to adulthood. By developing motility, the neotenous anthostomes are now able to actively search for a mate, minimizing the distance the gametes need to travel and thus substantially increasing the chances of a
Look at
successful
them.
fertilization. The ancestral anthostome would have produced gametes from internal gonads and then expelled them into the water through gonopores at the base of the feeding arms. However, in the gastrozoans, as the stomach evolved, these gonopores may have migrated inside the body cavity, meaning that the gastrozoans, including these new neotenous forms, will produce gametes from a gland on the inside of their mouth, which means that
Yes.
they eat, expel waste, and secrete sex cells all out of the same hole.
I wish we could do that.
Yeah,
Oh
my
nature can be
God.
gross sometimes.
It'd be heat, bro.
And one final
We
note
can
on
get freaky with
reproduction.
that.
Oh,
Most
I'm glad that just
anthistomes
my
only
food.
develop a reproductive system during their
God.
metamorphosis into adults.
My stomach hurts. Time
This
to go.
means that before they mature, the larvae are neither
Oh,
male
actually, that's
nor
somewhere.
female, completely lacking any sexual characteristics. Then, once they metamorphose, they become either male or female,
That's all right.
perhaps based on certain environmental cues such as temperature or the availability of certain nutrients, rather like the developing embryos of crocodilians.
This temperature.
But since these neotenous anthistomes never undergo metamorphosis, they will instead gradually develop a reproductive system once they reach maturity, with the
Yes.
same delayed onset sex determination as the other anthistomes. With this suite of bizarre traits, I'm going to dub these bilateral gastrozoans tentaclostomes.
Tentacle mouth.
And with that, we've got a pretty solid outline for the ecosystem.
They're a
of our
pretty cool
ancient
ecosystem
oceans.
right there.
Oh,
A
it's
fairly
really cool.
extensive cladogram for both of our
I can't
body
wait to see
plans.
more.
Keep in mind, of course, that
The
evolution
clade
on this
episode was
scale
cool,
takes
bro.
millions of generations, and for every clade we've developed, there are likely to be innumerable intermediary forms, as well as many other clades that have either gone extinct or simply aren't included for clarity. This
Dude,
will represent our ancient
man.
ocean's ecosystem for the first 100 million years or so following
We're
the
barely
emergence of the two
there.
body plans.
True.
However, while the oceans are brimming with life, there's still one habitat yet to be colonized.
Oh,
In the next episode, we'll see
Land.
how the descendants of these marine creatures haul themselves out of the sea and take up
this
residence
is what I
on
wanted to
dry
see.
land.
It's ooh. Oh man, another one, dude. Another good episode.
You're gonna see me pop out.
It's just
A huge Zeus pops out the ocean.
I'm
He
not.
swims out.
it's that'd be insane if tentacle mouth just evolved into you.
You just
And
come
just
out.
all the tentacles just gone. It's just gonna be you.
We had the beard and all that already.
I'm not.
It also comes with headphones too.
That'd be crazy, dude. Hi, what's up? My name is Zeus. I'm on the hit channel Cranky Boys, bro.
And no one's
Oh,
there.
do it be cool though if we do one where, like, let's say aliens go to a planet being developed and like gene seeded that planet instead of it naturally becoming a planet itself.
Yeah.
So like they could like artificially create their own alien planet.
Here's the big question: was the Earth seeded for to be human?
Earth?
Yeah.
Earth is seeded for to be human.
Yeah, but was it our ancestors that seeded it, the old human race that died from technology?
We ain't the Prometheans from Halo.
This isn't Halo.
We ain't the Halo universe. They did that.
Man, Zeus.
Yeah.
Wild.
You're crazy. I think you're mini feet.
Many feet lick. That was another banger, bro, by Biblaridion, bro. I'm really excited about this Alien Biospheres. I mean, it's going a little slow right now, but I fully believe it's about to be a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's just that there's so much information that we're just like trying to absorb all the information.
It is.
Yeah.
So real sorry if we don't talk much.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's so interesting.
We also don't know much about the terms they use.
Yeah.
We're not really big, like, we're not smart. Like, I'm gonna be real.
What
Like,
is
we're hanging on. Sometimes homeboy right here comes in clutch with some words, bro. Occasionally I drop facts, bro. But it is what it is. We don't understand this, but we appreciate it. We appreciate everything. We appreciate you guys.
Stop crying. We like y'all. Thanks for watching and requesting all these videos. This is real sick. Hopefully we get this man to understand everything that's going on.
Oh yeah, my bro's just sitting here, bro. He doesn't get it, bro. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if there's anything else you want us to check out. Obviously, we're watching this. We just finished
House Reach.
Hell's Reach. We just finished Hell's Reach. Hopefully you see that there. Just give us some new stuff too. Okay, we're down. I was looking at that a couple other analog horrors. So stay tuned for that. All right, we're getting some info on that. Okay. Anyway, we have been Cranky Films. Please stay cranky.